Good afternoon, I'm Asher, and tonight we turn the spotlight on a thinker whose influence has echoed through more than 2 millennia of human history, the philosopher Plato. While many of us know his name, fewer know the depth of his impact, not just on philosophy, but on politics, science, education, and modern-day democracy. In the next few minutes, we'll take a closer look at the life, the legacy, and the lessons of Plato, a man whose ideas continue to shape our world. Now I'm going to pass it on to Kayla, who's going to tell us about who actually was Plato.
Plato was born around 427 BCE in ancient Athens, a city full of democracy, art, and smart thinkers. He came from a rich and powerful family, and most people thought he'd go into politics, but fate and philosophy had other plans. When his teacher Socrates was killed in 399 BCE, it changed him forever. Plato became disappointed in the government and the unfairness he saw around him, so he turned away from politics and focused on wisdom and truth instead. He spent most of his time teaching and writing, trying to help people understand what it means to live a good and just life. Plato died around 347 BCE, probably in Athens. Some say he passed away peacefully in his sleep during a wedding feast, which kind of feels like a fitting ending for someone who loved ideas and discussion so much.
Now I'm going to turn it over to Camila, who is our expert on what Plato's beliefs were.
Citizens, tonight I'll be teaching you about one more fact. The philosopher and his beliefs. Yeah. Plato had many beliefs during his time working in philosophy. Some of these beliefs include the idea that the world should be ruled by philosophers. Biased, don't you think? Kings who seek the truth of wisdom and would govern the world with peace and harmony. Interesting opinion. Another one of his main beliefs is the tripartite soul. Difficult word, huh? Which states that the soul consists of 3 different parts. 1, the rational reason. 2, the spirited emotion and honor. 3, the appetitive physical desires. His biggest theory was the theory of forms, that says the world we see is only an imperfect copy of a higher, more perfect reality. He believed that everything physical, like objects or even ideas, comes from an ideal form that exists beyond our senses.
Thank you, Camila. And now I'll pass it on to Josh, who was our expert on Plato's accomplishments.
Three-pointer! Bang!
Back. Plato's accomplishments reach far beyond the pages of philosopher books. They helped lay the foundation of Western thought as we know. His most enduring legacy is the creation of the Academy, founded in Athens around 387 BCE. Often considered the first university in the Western world, it became a center for learning that shaped generations of thinkers, including Plato's most famous student, Aristotle. Plato also authored over 30 philosophical dialogues, many of which featured his teacher, Socrates. These writings explored the profound ideas about justice, love, knowledge, and the nature of reality. The Republic stands out as a groundbreaking work in the political philosophy that introduced the idea of the philosopher king and imagined a society ruled by wisdom. Perhaps most famously, Plato gave us the allegory of the cave, a powerful metaphor for truth, perception, and enlightenment, still taught in classes today. Though his writing, his school, and his rivals' ideas, Plato didn't just ask the big question. He created the framework that continued to shape us on how we answer them. I'm out.
Thank you, Josh. Now I'm going to pass it on to Janisa, who's going to talk about the public's response to Plato.
The public did not hold Plato in high esteem. They were very hostile to him. One example of this is when a large crowd gathered to hear Plato. Plato's lecture was on the good, and it was not liked by the audience. They were disappointed. There were many haters that spoke up, and there were many just quiet people who were disappointed in him. He gained lots of negative attention. But now in the present day, he is seen as important and significant because he was a central figure in Western philosophy.
Thank you, Janisa. Now I'm going to pass it on to Charlie, who's going to tell us 3 of Plato's most important quotes.
There are 3 powerful quotes from the philosopher Plato.
of them is the measure of a man is what he does in power. Plato believed the true character is revealed not in weakness, but in strength. In a city like Athens, where political power was often misused. This quote was a challenge to those in charge and a reminder that leadership should be rooted in wisdom and virtue, not ambition. Another one of his famous lines is, "The beginning is the most important work of the work." This idea reflects Plato's deep commitment to education and early moral development. He believed the shaping of the minds of the young would shape the future society, a message that resonated with some but made others wary of a push for more controlled, idealized state. And finally, the heaviest penalty for declining to rule is to be ruled by someone inferior to yourself. This was Plato's warning to the wise. Stay involved. He believed that if intelligent, moral people avoided politics, they would end up being governed by those less capable or even corrupt. And it was a criticism of apathy that still echoes in political debates today. Though not always celebrated in his lifetime, Plato's words gave strength over the centuries. Today, he is remembered not just as a philosopher, but as a voice who dared to speak uncomfortable truths, and in doing so, helped the shape of the foundation of Western thought.
So the next time someone mentions Plato, think beyond the marble statues and the ancient scrolls. Think about a man who asked big questions, who challenged the status quo and dared to imagine a better, more refined world. In a time of rapid change in the world we are right now, Plato reminds us to keep going after truth, wisdom, and making sure that we know that justice is important. Some of the most powerful revolutions began not with weapons, but with ideas. For Plato's Closet, I'm Asher. Thanks for joining us, and stay curious.